Hold on.
Okay. Because see, I kind of planned this entire thing around the click. Oh no! Excellent. Wait. Is it the Ford era? I run a junkyard, y'all. I don't play with that. Awesome. Okay, so I'm Hannah Hargrove, and this beautiful, fantastic woman is my mother, Michelle Hargrove. And we own and operate Ori Wrecking Company, which is the oldest architectural salvage yard south of the Mason-Dixon line. And we are the oldest operational still going on, as far as I can tell, as well. So that's really cool, and we enjoy it. And so, yeah, we're talking about treasure today because we are treasure hunters. And the treasures are not always what you think they're going to be. So seriously though, one man's trash is another person's treasure. So she's going to start it off kind of talking about the background, and then you get to hear from me again.
You're going to hear more from her than me, so I'm going to...
I talk more.
We bought, Or Reed again was
Don't
founded...
get closer.
Okay, Or Reed was founded in 1946 by Mr. Orr and Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed passed away in the 80s. There was an article in the newspaper, back when people got newspapers delivered to their homes, about Mr. Orr wanting to sell. John, my late husband, her father,
That one.
yes, he read this article, and he'd been selling salvage with his dad. So he said, "I want to buy that. I want to go buy this." And of course, I was like, "Okay, go." And so he went down to speak to Mr. Orr, and Mr. Orr was 82 at the time. Oh, I love that man. And he could have sold the property to many, many, many people, but they wanted the land. They didn't want the business. So here comes this John, and we wanted the business. Hannah was not even 4 when we purchased it. She came to work with us every day. And so when I tell people she's been talking to customers since she was 4 years old, I mean it. Because she would literally greet people when they came in, told them what they needed, and told them where it was going to be located. And they would look down like this child is talking like this. And I would say, yeah, that's Hannah. So we bought it in 1993. Okay, sorry, Hannah. We bought it in 1993. And August 15th, August 15th, next month, we will have had it 30 years. Yeah. That is the treasury, the fact that we kept it going and honored Mr. Orr in his legacy. And he also became a very dear friend, godparent to our second daughter, and we just totally adored him. He was just a treasure. So that's how it started. Through the course of time, I backed away and only did the book work because I had an additional child, one in kindergarten, half day, one brand new baby. Just wasn't conducive for me to come every day for that. So, and then we had our third child. So I just did the Or Reed part in, yeah, is that Sam?
No, hold up.
Okay.
No, wait, that's me in a bathtub.
Oh, yes.
This picture will come back, y'all. So
Yes.
there you go.
There we go. This is really the only family photo we ever had. We didn't like our picture taken very
Still
much.
don't.
But anyway, and then of course when John passed and Hannah had been into doing,
Here,
and I started.
now I take over.
Girl.
Great.
All right.
Okay, so I'm off in Nacogdoches. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Nacogdoches, but I'm not a very Nacogdoches-y kind of girl. But I somehow ended up at SFA and was there for 5 years because, well, I'm not so great at finishing things. And my father decides to tell me that it's time for me to move home and become his business partner. And for years, well, I loved Or Reed as a little girl, but then I was a teenager, and I shouldn't have been embarrassed. But when you grow up in a neighborhood where you're surrounded by a bunch of doctors and lawyers' kids, and here you are with your dad, the junk man, and all you want to do is be invisible, and you're loud, and you can't be invisible because you can't ever shut up. I didn't want to do it. It's not that I didn't love it, it's just that I did not want anybody to pay attention. And by the way, my father at the time was driving around a '69 Cadillac convertible. So, oh no, it was humiliating because the steering wouldn't work, it would smell bad, it would backfire. Beth, you might remember it. It was horrifying. So there was no being invisible for me, despite all I wanted was invisible. So I swore, I will never move back to Dallas. I will never run Or Reed. Well, don't say never. So I moved back home, and right when I moved back home, my parents had been battling the city of Dallas. The city of Dallas wanted to come in and do something called sunset our land, which is basically still make us all pay for it, but not be able to operate our business. So my father would write these impassioned speeches, and she would help, but she doesn't like the attention. So Dad would go into city council, and he did things like throw glass doorknobs down at the desk and be, where else could you buy this? And it was great. And it was Jim Schutz, who, our city is not as good that he's not writing regularly, wrote these great articles about the David and Goliath of the battle, and we won. We got to keep our land. We got to keep doing what we're doing. And this was basically our celebration. And so we had this giant thing where we won, we're the queens, we're the kings, woohoo. That's my little brother, he's now an adult, that's weird. And life was good. I mean, I'm 23 years old. I just moved back to Dallas. I was in the middle of planning a wedding for a failed marriage. And it's good, I'm happy now. And life was okay. We were figuring it all out. And then, see, I told him I'm gonna cry, so I'm working really hard on not doing this. Tragedy happens. January 26th, 2013, exactly 6 weeks the day before I'm supposed to be getting married, I couldn't find my father to go to work, which was not a normal thing. And so I spent that day calling anywhere I could, trying to find my dad. And finally, we called the morgue. And he was dead. A fight had broken out at a bar, and he tried to stop it. And for his troubles, he got hit over the head with a pool cue and killed. And it was, remember how I like to say I like to be invisible? Well, there was no being invisible anymore. It's something crazy to be mourning somebody you love so much and getting phone calls from newspaper reporters. It was horrible, but here it is. We have this business that at the time, my uncles, who thought they were getting a will to them, turns out, plot twist, my father had a secret will. It was great. He left it to the man who owns most of the street that Orreed is on, and he just promptly signed it all back over to us after handling the paperwork. But they decided that we couldn't do it, and they were ready to liquidate everything and sell, because there was no way Hannah and Michelle could run it. One of our long-term employees was going around telling people that we were destined for failure, and there was no way we could succeed. We lost out, I don't know, I think it was something like 20 jobs that we had all lined up within a month, because again, there was no way Hannah and Michelle could do it. And it was hard, because here it is, Dad also left us with $500,000 in debt. And so we didn't know what we were doing. What we did know is that we couldn't let it die. And we knew that if we were gonna fail, my dad's big thing, if you're gonna fail, fail big. And that's what kind of we decided. It was one of those, screw it, let's do it. And there were some days at first where we lasted 15 minutes because we get a phone call asking for my dad. And we would just have to leave because it was just one of those, what? But thanks to that girl right there who hates attention even more than her. She made it possible. She became surrogate Hannah, as we call her, and she's pretended to be me many times. Why, yes, her father was murdered in a bar fight. So we've kept going. And now what we've done is we like to call it the girlification of Orreed. Do we have any photos of the pre-girlification? No, of course not. Because again, remember, we don't like photos. But now we have things that are like organized. Like our pretty doorknobs. Our doors. I know this is crazy, but they're by size. Our wood floor, still a giant cellar, but we don't have to focus on it as much anymore because we've been able to transition more to things we love, which is cool, antique, vintagey stuff. So while we still are an architectural salvage yard, we now are just savers of all cool stuff. And that means we get to deal with people everywhere from people on fixed income in Oak Cliff where their houses are trying to be taken, to where we can make sure they get it adored at an affordable rate and they get to leave their pride. And we get to deal with some of the most wealthy people in our Metroplex who are able to pay a lot more. So we get to Robin Hood things, which is pretty great too. So, our sinks, more of the warehouse. Yeah, that's the oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah, yeah, I can look. And we also really get to do, which is pretty awesome, is that she has discovered, she likes to say that I'm the one doing it, but let's make it very clear, it would not be possible without her. She just doesn't like dealing with the people. Not that I really like dealing with the people either, but she really doesn't. So that's me. But what she does, well, everything, but her big thing is she now does restorations of light fixtures that look like and this, and this, and this, and turns them into this. And this, and this. I do this. I do hardware restoration because they're like puzzles, and I like puzzles. But I don't like to advertise that because unfortunately I do have a business to run, so as much as I would like to do nothing but restore old door mortise locks, I kind of have to sell stuff. But, you know, it's kind of amazing to take an old Eastlake knob that has been covered in years and years of corrosion, to know that someone hand forged that and turn it back to what it's supposed to be. And what's amazing is I get to touch things that if you're in museums, there's no way you can touch. You can't walk in a museum and touch something that's 150 years old. And I do it every day. I also get to learn about things. Like this sink right here is from Dalton. Now, we know Dalton now is Royal Dalton, and that's because the Crown gave them the right to use Royal in 1901. But they actually got their start in the 1850s as a sewer pipe manufacturer. And then they transitioned into things like sinks and tubs. And to know that that sink came out of England, that survived the Blitz, that it somehow got on a boat to America, and then somehow ended up at our store, and to get to learn all of that, well, I mean, it's really cool. Because I do get to touch things from 1855, and no one's telling me not to. Not only get to touch it, I get to save it from landfills. So we get to do these treasures, and we get to deal with customers from all over the United States. We started this map kind of as a joke. We get phone calls at least, I don't know, what, 5-6 times a week? Do you have a second location? We're in McKinney. And that's like really far. I mean, to be fair, I don't like going to McKinney, so I mean, I can't judge them. But it's funny, because like, we started this map in 2018 as a, well, you know what, let's see how far people have come to visit us from. We have all but 3 states filled at this point since 2018, and that includes COVID. Like, so clearly, McKinney's not all that far. And now what we've started doing, we actually launched a shoppable website. I like to call it my 1/3 life crisis. And on my 31st birthday, basically, I decided we were not doing enough. So I launched a shoppable website where we now ship things all across the country. So the tiny pins are where all we ship things at this point. And so now we don't just sell to people who are in our storefront. We sell on the website, which is great when it's this hot, because we get to save things and go different places, and we can, like, you know, not freak out about how the bills get paid because of the website. So, yay. The coolest stuff, though, is things like this. We got this comment last week, but we get comments like this all the time. It was an old Avon perfume bottle. We sold it for $12. And she bought it immediately. She got it shipped to her house. And even though it's not the one her grandmother had, in her heart, she's a piece of her grandmother now. And we have people come in every day, hourly, who walk in, and the first thing they say is, "This reminds me of my grandmother's house." And to get to hear that we get to make people think about their loved ones, and we get to bring these things back to them. Yeah, we get to save cool stuff, but what we really get to save are memories. We get to bring these people back to something that was full of love and kindness and good in their life. And they get to experience that when they walk in our doors. And that's amazing, that we get to help people relive their best memories while doing what we love. Sometimes we fall in love with some stuff too. In February, we got a huge amount of stuff from a couple named Sally and Jim Wiley. Now, Jim Wiley is awesome. You should look him up. He was an architect. His stuff is still on house tours in Dallas, and he's great. But we're not going to talk about Jim. We're going to talk about Sally. Because Sally, I'm sure by a lot of people's standards, didn't do much with her life. She got married, got a divorce very quickly, and then remarried again. She married Jim. They didn't have kids. But she had an amazing life, and I fell madly in love with Sally. Sally died in '94, so she had a really good life. Jim is still kicking at 96. The reason they were downsizing all the stuff is he moved to a smaller place because, well, he's 96 and doesn't need all this stuff. And as an architect, he knew about Orr Reed, and he wanted us to end up with his things. So we did. And in going through these boxes and boxes and boxes, I got to learn all about Sally, who grew up in Honduras. Her father worked for the International Banana Company. And she ended up going to Baylor, which, again, I deep dived on Sally. I found these articles about my sweet, sweet Sally. And I fell in love with her and Jim's love story. Because although they did not have kids, and although she didn't do anything that is, worth it for the history books, this woman lived. She lived an amazing life. And she had a husband who really loved her. So I'm sure y'all can read it, but I'm going to read it anyway. This was in one of her, it was in her dressing, what is it called, Mother? The thingy, the vanity. And it was shoved into a drawer, deep in a drawer, in this Neiman Marcus bag. And it says, to Sally, because it was damn hot today. It's not your birthday. Neiman's is having a sale. And I love you. And I found that, and well, I lost it. Because again, she lived. She had a beautiful life, and her stuff now, these things that she collected over time, they're in so many people's houses now. They now treasure Sally's collection. Her memories, her life go on, and everyone who has bought one of Sally's items, they have had to endure a history lesson from me all about Sally.
So did I.
And now Sally's name lives on. And hopefully, as her things continue to be passed down, more people will learn about her. More generations will. And so yeah, keeping cool stuff out of landfills and keeping these treasures is amazing. But what's really amazing is keeping people like Sally alive. That's the biggest treasure. This right here is our, 5 minutes, yeah. This is our unclaimed relative wall. Another thing that we get to keep alive for people. And so they become our family members. We get to keep them in the family, if you will. This right here is my biggest personal treasure. This is a list my father made about 5 days before he died about how to succeed in business. Wow. It sits right at my desk, and on the days that I just don't know what to do, I consult the list. And again, it's not anything special. It's a board that I have put plastic tape over to preserve, but it's my biggest treasure on an entire yard. It's a piece of my daddy that I get to reference. I get to sit in his desk and think about him. This right here, it's amazing. It's on our social media. Y'all should go and read it. This is a letter we got from a customer telling us of something that we gave her that I wrote about, because I'm sure as y'all can gather from my amount of talking, I have a lot to say. And so in one of our social media posts, I wrote about some old silver frames that really should probably be scrapped because they were dented, but they were still beautiful and they deserved love. And she bought them, and the reason she bought them is they reminded her that although she's not a perfect mother, blemishes and all, she's the best mother she can be, and that's beautiful. That's now hanging by my daddy list because, well,
and we really needed that.
We really needed it that day. It was a hard day. This right here, quickly, Facebook decided that we were worthy enough of being part of their special Facebook group. They sent us off to DC because apparently they think we're awesome. I ignored the phone call for 6 months because why in the world would you all want us? Turns out it wasn't a scam. They did want us. So she and I got to go up to DC, all expenses paid, y'all. And we got to meet someone named Tom. Tom owns a grocery store in rural Iowa, and it burned to the ground. It's being rebuilt. But we went off to Iowa to get to go celebrate a documentary that was made about him that's winning several awards. Y'all should go watch it. It's also linked on our social media. It's only 12 minutes, and we flew all the way to Iowa for 12 minutes.
It was worth it.
It was, but it was founded originally by his grandfather. And now, even though Tom is in his 60s, he's rebuilding it because, again, treasure's not just the physical. It is the memories and the things that we keep going. This right here shows what some trashy doors can become. These doors were destined for the trash. Well, my bonus daughters needed a bedroom. And you don't get rich in the junk business. So I needed to figure out a way to make them a beautiful bedroom. And I used doors destined for the trash. And now my beautiful bonus baby girls get to sleep on these beautiful beds made of trash. And trust me, they treasure it. We launched artisan fairs because we were pissed off that Deep Ellum Art Fair was not letting local people in. And now we get to help other people, and gouging pricing. And so we threw this together in 6.5 weeks, and it turns out we're good at it. Our first one, we had over 2,000 people come out with a budget of under $1,000. Beth over there got to be one. Megan makes sure they look really pretty. Make sure to get balloons from her. And now our parking lot 2 times a year gets so full that people are parked nearly a mile away thousands of people come out to support other local businesses, and we get to help others grow too. See, I included some balloons because they're worthy. We had this mural painted by a friend of ours last year. The one on the left is my daddy, in the middle is Mr. Orr, right is Mr. Jones. And these are people that, again, history would forget, except we don't let them. Because without them, we would not exist, and without them, so many people would not have their houses filled with beautiful things. Huge treasure is my grandmother gets to see that her son is still loved and continued. Now, my biggest treasure most recently is this one right here, although now he's big. And the fact that I get to bring my kid to work and recreate bathtub photos. And take my oldest bonus daughter to old historical houses, and she gets to geek out over things. It's a pretty giant treasure. Recently, I actually took my kid to the zoo. There's my daddy's handwriting on a piece of wood at the zoo. He still talks about that piece of wood. That's my granddaddy. This does not look like a treasure, does it? No, this is a giant hole in my laundry room floor. The day of the freeze, by the way, in February. And I didn't have the budget to redo an entire laundry room. It was not great, but I got on Facebook Marketplace and I found some tiles. And it turns out that this woman that I bought some tiles from interviewed my daddy in college. And she had a USB. And somehow, my rotten floors turned into us getting a video of my daddy talking about what Orr Reed and treasures meant to him. And we've included a 30-second thing about this, so y'all get to watch that too. I think you gotta push play on this though.
Yeah, I think the more appropriate question, excuse me, would be, you know, how many tons do we save to a city dump? Which is what I'm proud of, okay? And it's untold tons, okay? I mean, I've been here 20 years, and you know, I haven't done many wonderful things in my life, okay? But that's one thing I'm proud of. I mean, I have kept hundreds and thousands of cubic yards of trash out of the city landfill. So that's something I'm proud of. I've been living doing it. And that is something I am proud of.
One last picture, and just humiliate Guy, it won't go. Can you click it for me? Sorry, love you.
I adore you. Oh, look, that's my dog.
Yeah, I think it's
There we go. We got some pageant crowns in, and of course we're going to wear pageant roll. Mine says Sparkle Dolls. And so now we get to save treasures, both the physical and the not physical. We get to still keep metric tons out of landfills, and we get to spend our days with the people we love, which is the biggest treasure of all. So treasures look like all different sorts of things, but anything can be a treasure if you look hard enough. And that's what we got. And then, yeah, go follow us, go buy things from the website, please. Because again, we don't get rich.
For sharing your treasures with us. It was just beautiful.
All right, guys. Everyone get a chance to scan this. We'll also send links to their websites and all of their socials afterwards. Let me switch over. Sorry, go ahead.
It's or-read.com. It's a great photo.
So, since we're not able to attend or read today, you can join us tomorrow, where we're going to go for a treasure hunt at Or Reed, so you can check out the amazing space and see all of the amazing treasures. There are tons more, of these treasures that we have here. So if you want to join us first for some Vietnamese coffee and donuts at Chim Lan, which is at inside Sandwich Hag at 9 a.m. Right when they open, come, they have coffee and pastries for purchase. And then we'll head over to Or Reed.
And y'all are welcome to bring us up.
Yes, definitely. They're 3 minutes away from Chim Lan, so join us at 9:30 there, and then we're going to do a treasure hunt, and we'll have prizes for the first 3.
$25 gift cards and stickers.
Yes, and another surprise prize. So yeah, please join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. All right. Save the date, y'all, for August. You guys know what this is, right? Yeah. So there's this strange portal that just opened up in Grapevine, inside Grapevine Mills. It's Meow Wolf. You guys heard of Meow Wolf? Yes. Have you guys been to Meow Wolf? The Grapevine location?
Yeah.
Yes, it is officially open now, and this is the space that we're going to be in. It's called Neon Kingdom. I'm so excited about this, girl. So this is the fourth Friday, so this is a different time for us. So make sure that you note August 25th. And please sign up for our newsletter so that you get the email once we release the ticket, right? Because this will definitely sell out really quick. And the cool thing is we can tour the space for free afterwards. How cool is that?
We'll be in New Orleans.
Oh,
I know. It's my wedding and birthday. Wedding anniversary and birthday. Like it's fine.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
But yes, please sign up for this. It's going to be incredible. And bring a friend. All right. Thank you so much to Michaela Yarbrough for illustrating this for us. This is super cute. Are you guys a cat or a dog people? I'm both. Yeah. I love all animals. So this is just adorable. This is the best way people find out about Creative Mornings is by bringing friends, right? But make sure you register, please, because we gotta stick to our guest list for all of our events. All right. So we have a community spotlight, which will give 30 seconds to a community member to announce any projects or anything that they're working on. So Madison, are you here? Come on up, Madison Mass.
All right.
Okay, hold on. Okay, go.
All right. My name is Madison. I do public interactive art, and I'm building a sculpture park. So these are some photos in progress. This is at Old City Park in the Cedars neighborhood. And they gave me this big lot, so I'm looking for artists that want to do cool, creative things. Also people to help fund it. So if you're somebody who's been told no, if it's something really big or like a really cool idea, let me know. Also if you're a sponsor or a contributor or any way you want to help out. There you go.
Follow him. I said no. I didn't.
Yeah, you'll see his work all over town. All right, guys, follow us. Scan this QR code. There's tons of information on our Linktree page. Sign up for the newsletter. Follow us on IG, and also give us feedback on our events because that's how we improve on our events. We produce these for you guys, so. Tell us what you like, what you want to see. So it's really important that we get your feedback, all right? And yeah, that's our social stuff. So we'll see you next month. Oh, wait, totally forgot about your Q&A. We have time, so let's do that. All right, okay, we got 10 minutes to do this. So.
Here you go. We got one.
So some questions about that.
Thank you both so much. I remember the tragedy of your husband and your father, and I'm so sorry about that. What an amazing thing you got here. At the risk of sounding like a boomer, I remember orbiting back when it was cool to remember orbiting. And I just thought it was so cool I had to tell you, because it just feels like the spirit of your dad, all over this. I wrote down, without thinking, the treasure that I wrote down here is a motel chair that I got at Oregon. And it was the day that I opened my first studio, so.
Thank you. I mean, again, maybe we should be tired of hearing about how our thing, but no, it's amazing. Like, thank you. It's just, it's nice. It's little pieces of my dad all throughout this city, and like, that's kind of amazing. Yeah. Fabulous purple hair.
Oh, thank you. I have a couple comments. My dad also grew up in a salvage family, and we've got someone has, like he would rescue the copper mailboxes and the giant copper kettles and all. But I have a funny story to tell. My mom passed away a couple years ago. And in her tiny little piece of little cabinet where all these family wedding albums were two gorgeously, can I say upholstered books? Photo books. Beautiful photo books. I didn't remember any of these pictures. Couldn't recognize anyone. I sent pictures to all the second and third cousins. Who are these? Finally, my sister-in-law said, oh, I remember when she got it in the antique store. She thought it was pretty. So my message for the world is if those family pictures aren't your family, you know them.
There's actually a Facebook group, it's like Find Lost Relatives, where you can submit those photos, and these people, they're ancestry nuts, and they will find the families, and you can track them down. Like the ones that are on our wall, for the most part we know who they are. It's because there's copies of these photos, what have you, and they don't want them. So we don't do that with that, but I am in this group, and it's fantastic, and you should check it out.
And I might bring you some photos. I figured those went in the estate sale,
Yes.
so it's someone else's problem. Thank you.
Hopefully this isn't putting you two on the spot too much, but what's one lesson that you've learned as small business owners in the past, like since the pandemic?
You want me to do it?
You do it. Whatever she says, I agree with.
Thanks, Mom. Okay, so I'm gonna spotlight Gaia again, even though she hates me for it. We offered to fire everybody. We didn't know how. We got through murder, but we didn't know how we were gonna get through a pandemic. And so we offered to fire everybody because they were gonna make more unemployment than we could pay them. And we'll make it very clear, our employees are not rich. We pay them a living wage, and we pay them as much as we can. There's months where they're taking home more than us. But, there's, how restaurants, I think it's like, 2 weeks of extra basically built in? We're pretty much run on restaurant numbers for the most part, okay? There's not extra. We don't have it. It's feast or famine in the junkyard business. And we were in super famine. So I offered to fire everybody, and not one of these idiots would take us up on it. Basically, is if you all go down, we all go down together. And when you are forced with that, and you know that your people are depending on you, well, you gotta get real creative. So we started launching craft kits. We started with pieces of wood with doorknobs that people can make at home for coat racks. Then we went into planter boxes because I noticed everybody was planning their own food. So we started cutting out wood and bagging up literally in Ziploc bag screws and instructions printed out that Guy would sit there and write on the computer. That turned into so many other things. Pumpkins. We made pumpkins out of 2x4s that you could buy. Colin bought one. Thanks, Colin. I delivered it. She did.
Birdhouses.
Yeah, birdhouse. Yeah. So anything that I could come up with that we could make to keep paying our people is what we did. And what COVID really taught. It's a big reason we launched the Artisan Fairs is because although we did survive, and we survived mostly on a hope, a wish, and pixie dust, I knew that others were struggling even more than us. And so when I found out that the biggest art fair in Dallas was not letting locals in, and I knew that we had the space to do it, I knew that something had to be done. Because if people hadn't bought our pumpkins, we would not be here. So that's why we really did the Artisan Fairs, was we wanted to give other people their hope, chance, and pixie dust. So that's what the pandemic and all that is. Put your fingers in as many pots as possible, like things like a website when you have no idea what the hell you're doing. Because eventually you're gonna do something that's gonna stick, and you're gonna figure it out. And if you got crazy enough employees, they'll stick around too to make sure everything is okay.
But they're not our employees, they're our family.
They're our family. We just happen to pay them.
Thank you.
Do you have plans for the next Artisan Fair?
Yes, I believe it's November 25th. It's whatever the Saturday after Thanksgiving is, because that's Small Business Saturday. And yes, people get very mad that we hold it Thanksgiving because they're out of town. Well, that's too bad because I am in town. And a lot of other people too, okay? We're not all going off to Wyoming. It's the 25th, thanks Gaia. We're gonna open up applications probably like the third week of August. And then we'll select our vendors and it'll be great and fantastic. And Y'all should come. I recommend coming in the morning because by like 12 o'clock we have thousands of people there. And I still, maybe it's the imposter syndrome, I don't know, but every fair, I'm like, nobody's gonna come, nobody's gonna show up. I've gotten all these people here and they're gonna be disappointed and it's gonna be horrible and I'm going to fail. And then suddenly we look up and people just keep coming. And so I'm told that it's the best sales day that they've ever had in some cases. And that's amazing to have this environment. That's my big thing about the vendors. I've rejected many people, their stuff is amazing, but their attitude sucks. The only way you're allowed in our fairs is if you're positive and kind to others. And so like our last fair, one of our vendors, her dog got out and got attacked by the neighbor's dogs. The vendor next to her took over her booth so she could go home and get it dealt with. They didn't know each other. But she was like, go, I've got you, it's not a problem. And so our vendors, it is a very warm and positive environment to be in, to have this thing of all these incredibly talented people support one another. And it's cool, it's great. So come to the fair, y'all. Look at Megan's beautiful balloons.
I thought you were going to say wearing earrings, I thought at one of your fairs.
Are you?
Yes.
I shop Big Trash.
Good for you.
I have a garage full of doors and lumber and cabinets and hardware. And do you buy a lot? I'm leaving next month across the country.
Where are you escaping to?
Boise. I've been planning this for 2 years, but
Okay.
I haven't been emptying out all of my
Winters sound nice.
treasures. Yes. So I
Um,
have tons of treasures. I
Yeah.
will be having an estate sale, but I will have stuff that I don't think should go in the big trash pile.
yeah, have the estate sale afterwards. We'll see what we can do. You can contact us through our social medias, our email, or just give us a call.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we do buy things, y'all, but we definitely do buy things. A lot of our stuff comes from demolitions, junk luggers. They're great. You should also be supportive of junk luggers. We love them. Sometimes we do show up and there's donations, and we do love that. But for the most part, we do buy our inventory from people. But if you want to donate things to us, we take everything but mini blinds, ceiling fans, and jacuzzi bathtubs.
What's a quirky item that you've seen that you've kept for yourself and taken home?
Do you want to tell our rule?
We do have a rule. If we see something that we love, we give it 30 days. If it's sold, then it's not meant to be. If it isn't, it goes home. Quirky though, like what quirky? I mean,
Look, one of my favorites that just sticks out to me, it was a plug-in wall thing, waterfall, holographic art piece. I don't know why it existed, okay? Did it make me cackle every time I looked at it? Sure did. But like my entire kitchen remodel has been done with other people's trash. My tiles, yeah, I did buy those. I bought some more from another lady who bought them and her husband hated them. So then he told her there was no way in hell she'd ever sell them. Well, guess what she did to me? And then there was other stuff from Reed. It's an old set of metal cabinets that I've sanded down and, well, Johan sanded down. I painted. And an old 1961 O'Keefe American, stove. I've done my entire kitchen remodel for under $2,000 out of other people's trash. So, that's pretty quirky and strange. My goal is to make it look like it's a time capsule to my 1956 house. And I'm successful for the most part on that. My fridge is new. And dishwashers are cool.
All right, one last question, anyone?
What's something that's inspiring you right now?
I mean, this is really dorky. Okay. It's my babies. I do it all for them. We have what I call mommy hours. It's why they are what they are. We're open 10:30 to 4 Monday through Friday, and 9 to 2:30 on Saturday. And it's because everything I do is for them. And I want to be able to spend as much time with them as possible.
which I think is a great compliment, because everything I've ever done is for my kids.
Well, it is. The thing is, I'm a good mommy, but I'll never be as good as her, and I'm okay with that.
As far as me, I mean, I think, I can hold it close enough.
Great.
For me, what inspires me is, and some of the chandeliers she showed you, but when I get something that is so gross and corroded and dirty, but I know what's underneath, and I clean it, and it is not fun. It's a dirty process. And then you get it, and you repin those crystals, and you light that thing up, and you give it another 100 years. That's my passion. That's what motivates me. And like I said, some days I want to go throw them in the Trinity. Like, I cannot, it's disgusting. And then I go back and do it again, and then I sell that to someone. And I always request this, not everybody does it.
No one does it.
No, a few people. But I always say, if you have the chance, could you take a picture and send it to me? I want to see its new home. I want to see where it landed. Oh, I guess she's right. Most people don't. But occasionally I'll get somebody that does. And it just is like the end of the sequence. I get closure.
They're her babies as well. I think she has more pictures of the light fixtures at this point than us. I'm okay with that. It's fine.
This is a real question. Is it safe and suitable to bring kids?
Yes, but hold their
5 and
hands.
7.
Yeah, no, hold their hands though. Do not let them run wild. We have people that let their kids run wild. Don't do that. I don't let my kid run wild, okay? Like we keep it as safe as we can. We have room for wheelchairs. We have ramps where we can. We open up the gates for strollers and things like, but it's still, 80-something-year-old concrete and so, watch your step. But we do try our best to keep it as safe as possible.
Thank you. That'll be a